Well, here we have a team, another episode of Rethink Real Estate. I'm back with Christopher today, and today what we're talking about is reviews. It's actually one of the things that I've actually spent a bit of time on over the last couple of weeks, actually, as we've sort of taken a little bit more of an interest in it. It's something that we've sort of left by the wayside, and definitely one of the things that we're exploring for sure. But the thing that I really do believe that is more difficult than what people understand is that by the time you've got bad reviews to try and fix that to bring the averages up or whatever it is, like once they're out there, they are out there. So we're going to talk about all different types of circumstances, what to be aware of, how to respond to bad reviews, all of those different things. So again, hopefully this helps, but Chris has done a really good job of obviously giving a great deal of information on what are the things that we need to focus on. Thanks so much. Welcome to Rethink Real Estate. My name is Ben Brady, and this is a real estate podcast aimed to deliver sales strategies, marketing tips, and business insights from industry experts and myself to build a listing-focused business for the future. Let's get into it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the one and only is back. Christopher, how are you, mate?
I'm good. I don't get a fancy nickname this time.
No, I just, you know what? I'm starting to phase out of that. Okay, I'm growing up. I'm mature.
You're maturing as this podcast reaches like 150 episodes now.
That's right.
It's new format.
Do you know the thing that we should actually do moving forward is you should change your figurines behind you every time we do it to like some weird position. See if people notice.
I could. I think I'm going to get a new one next week on Tuesday.
Wait. I know this might age the podcast. Let's talk about this for a moment. How excited are you for Thursday?
I'm super excited. If anybody doesn't know, baseball starts tomorrow. So I'm pretty stoked. Big MLB fan. MLB season kicks off officially tomorrow, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Do you know what? I'm actually surprised that you're wearing your Harcourts hat. Like I would have thought like you had the Mariners hat out, you know, like really giving some good juju leading into the season.
Well, there's a reason I didn't schedule this podcast for tomorrow because I'll be fully decked out the entire day tomorrow.
Yeah, so if anybody needs Chris, post 10 a.m. is that he'll be with a beer in his hand at the ballpark. And do you know the funny thing about that, though? You think that he would be unavailable. You can actually get him. Like, you can actually speak. Like, Chris will pick up in the middle of everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Julio hit a home run in the background. It'll be great.
Well, mate, let's dive into hitting home runs for a second. I'll segue in. Let's see if we can do that. I think that there's an element of what everybody does within their business where reviews have started to really take over. Like, and I'm fresh on this at the moment. Like dealing with a couple of our agents that are really focused on it. Also, from our own company perspective, like Harcourts and Harcourts Auctions, and then looking at the individual agent reviews, and then like it's bad. Like it's not like anyone goes on there to do good stuff most of the time. If you are not pushing people to go and review you, it's not like there's anything good on there, to be honest.
And it's a big detriment to your business if you're not pushing people from a review standpoint in multiple different fashions. So I think reviews could be, you know, we're talking about Google reviews, we're talking about Yelp, we're talking about on Zillow, Facebook, we're talking about all those places, those review platforms that you can do. But also at the same time, these reviews can come in forms of video and short form things that you can put on social media and run ads with and stuff like that. So there's a lot of different types of reviews that are out there right now. I just think reviews it's nothing new. Obviously, reviews have been around forever since, you know, for like face-to-face reviews, repeat and referral. But it's kind of transitioned into the online world, and people have started to forget about it or started to stop pushing it in their business. And I think that's a real detriment to growing businesses, especially right now in today's market.
Well, let me give a bit of color to that as well, Chris, so that we can sort of form a little bit more on it. Is that we've currently got a group within our network at the moment that is actually trying to revitalize their reputation online. They do a lot of property management, and unfortunately, the tenants that believe that they're being hard done by, it's like they're saying, oh, they forced me out of the home. But like if you go back and you reply and you look at these things, because we get notified of these, like you didn't pay for 12 months, you need to be kicked out of the home. Yes. You know, so like it's funny, like it's definitely is circumstances. So I want to talk some part today with you, Chris, about responding to bad reviews as well and how you should do that appropriately. But they're going through this at the moment, and because their property management business has really hurt that reputation of their business because their sales reviews are amazing, but their property management side is not good. In order to actually bring their average up, they're having to spend $15,000 with a company to really focus this. And like this is something that it's not something you can actually like immediately help. Like a good example of this, like I Google them, and this is another thing I want to talk to you about because you'll understand this better than I do. I Google them and it comes up. I'm like, guys, you're fine. What are you talking about? They Google themselves on their browser and it's horrible. And like it's two separate people, two separate areas Googling somebody.
Yeah, and the reason why a lot of that happens is based on location. So Google has this thing called the Map Pack or Google Places or whatever Google Business, whatever term that you're used to when it comes out there, because Google changes that term all the time. And you see different results on your search results based on your location, your proximity to them, your past searches, your past interactions, stuff like that inside of Google's browser. So when I Google something, for me specifically, I live in Seattle. It's vastly different than when you Google something down there and the search results that you get from that standpoint. So if I Google Harcourts up here, I'm probably going to get our Peninsula office, our Kitsap Peninsula office, and I'm going to get their reviews and I'm going to get their information. And when you Google down there, you could get a vast different things. You could get, one of the offices, you can get the auctions location, you could get our corporate office, you can get a lot of different things from that standpoint. And if you're in incognito mode or in your nothing, you're blocking your browsing history or anything like that, you might get international Harcourts results.
Mm,
So like
mm,
there's so many different, and we get a lot of responses too. Like I think we got a response from one of our sales emails actually yesterday that said, I had a bad experience with one of your brokers and I won't do anything with Harcourts related. Which has nothing to do with us. It's like that's like shutting down Remax for one bad agent. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
we have how many agents across the entire globe right now? We're the sixth largest real estate company in the world, and Harcourts Auctions is a spinoff of that. But those bad reputations carry weight across an entire platform of the internet when we're getting negative reviews, and oftentimes the negative people are the loudest people.
Yeah.
Just like we've seen on any social media platform when it comes to political or opinions or anything like that, the loudest people most of the time are the most negative people. We don't get the praises of the happy people and those shining through. And that's where I think most businesses need to be focused on in 2024 is focusing on the positive people and trying to get them to outweigh some of those negative people that might have hindered your business in the past.
So let's talk structure and flow then, because like I'm at the moment, like I'm looking at the Harcourts Auctions review side of things. I look at it on the Google thing, and I Google Harcourts Auctions, and it looks great, like it does. But then someone else Googles it, and there's like some people that have made some comments on there that again that aren't favorable. So I guess that let's talk about that, Chris. Like what is the structure and flow that someone should put into place? Is there product services? What should somebody do in order to make sure they're gearing people towards this? Because I think that the final thing I'll say on this is that there's a company out of Australia that we spoke to. It's called Rate My Agent.
Yep.
You know
RMA.
them.
Yep.
I think you actually set up the deal in Australia for them. But
Yep.
the thing is that in Australian real estate, Rate My Agent has worked really well for them. Over here, they haven't worked very well. But the thing that I love, what they do currently in Australia, let's say you sell a home and you're an agent, they take the responsibility on of actually chasing after these people for as long as possible in order to get them to review. In the US, we wanted to do a partnership with them, but they don't have the infrastructure and they won't do that or whatever it is. I'm sure that there's another company out there that might take on this responsibility for a fee, but like that's the type of thing. It's the persistence in order over time to continue to follow up with people, because I know I get asked all the time to rate experiences, and they're the first email I delete.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very hard to get people to rate experiences if there's no incentive involved.
Mm,
But the easiest way to do it without incentive is asking in the exact moment of a conclusion. And so even with RMA, and we had an entire thing where the CX program over in international, we had different points of the transaction where we asked for reviews at that point, where we
mm,
asked for insight into how their experience is going. And by CX, I mean customer experience. So sorry about that. So we would actually ask them at certain points in the transaction that we knew were big moments. So when they first sign a listing agreement, when they first go into escrow, and then when there's an actual close and a transition of a home, or from a buying side, there's a bunch of different points as well. Asking at those points and asking them periodically will actually improve your rate of actually getting reviews posted on different platforms, and they could be different reviews, the same person reviewing on multiple platforms as well. So you could have asked them, at one point in the transaction when they go pending, if they would give a review on here, and then ask them again at the end of close and the end of transferring keys on a different platform, just so you can kind of double up that one, because we know the reviews stay on individual platforms. But one of the big reasons why I think we should focus on reviews is the transition right now that is happening. And this is crazy because we always think of real estate inherently as a repeat and referral business, that's
Mm.
going on in the nature of everything, and it still is, and that's not going to change anytime soon. But we are seeing a downturn in that percentage of people of sellers who have actually found their agent through repeat and referral. It has gone down, this last year, according to NAR, down to 63%. Oh, I think it was like 68%. So it's not a drastic dip, but
So,
I
so,
think
so, so clarify that for me. Sorry, just so that I understand this. The people that are going back and using a repeat and referral agent or an agent they previously did is dropping.
according to statistics. And so, statistics can be flawed or anything like that. But from the statistics that we've had in NAR and what they've shared is that 63% of sellers have found their agents from a repeat referral nature. Now, the thing that I'm seeing and the thing that I kind of look at is people are going online to find a lot of their information, and we know that. And so that's where review sites, I think, are becoming king. And in tougher markets, the repeat and referral aspect of agents becomes a little bit harder, because people have bad experiences in tougher
Yep.
markets. And so
Yep.
when there's a tougher time to sell, or the agent didn't do a good job or anything like that, the repeat and referral nature of the business becomes a little bit, tightened.
That makes total sense. I've never ever thought about that. In
Yeah.
a tougher marketplace, there's less reviews and there's less repeat and referral business.
Yeah, and I
That
wouldn't
makes
say there's
total
less
sense.
reviews, because you could still cultivate reviews from the good people. You could still cultivate reviews from people who are in your sphere or have good experiences with you in the past or anything like that. Granted, there are less reviews as a whole, but you can cultivate that more, and you can kind of energize your
Yep.
clients to give reviews. But 100%, there's less repeat and referral because you can't control that. So
No, 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 no.
if I have a tough sale with an agent, because and we know inherently that sellers blame the agent before the market and all that stuff that usually happens. And so if I'm having a tough time and my home's sitting for 90 days, 120 days, and my agent told me it's probably going to go off the market pretty quick, now I'm having a bad experience, I'm probably not going to refer that to my friend at the ball game. When my friend asks for an agent, if I know an agent and how my experience was with my agent, I'm probably not going to refer them at that point, because in my mind I had a tough sale because of them,
Yeah.
which might not be true. It just might not be inherent at that, which is why I think more people will go towards review sites inside of these tough markets. And I think that should be your focus in 2024, is bolstering up those review sites and your reviews on those sites. One, so you just appear above other agents in your local marketplace, but two, so when people actually search you, then they're seeing the positive reviews and they're not seeing those negative ones that might, be in those conversations from tougher markets that are going on.
Well, I think that I want to go back to a point that you did, and I don't want to chop and change too much because I do want to get to the point of actually responding to bad reviews as well and what we should do there.
Yeah.
But I think that the thing you said that was gold that I didn't realize previously, the CX program, which is client experience in Australia,
Yeah.
is only successful because Rate My Agent is part of that process and following up and getting those ratings, right? Sorry, that's not true. What I'm trying to say is that I think that why it is successful in actually portraying the company to be very, very well reviewed, which it is very, very well reviewed over there, is that the different parts of the transaction, asking them after they've been on the marketplace for, again, pick your battles. Don't ask someone to review you if they've been on the market 45 days, you've asked them to do 2 price reductions and they haven't sold. That's probably not the right person. Or it might be if you can get the narrative to be real. However, after you've gone through the live process and you've gone through your first week, ask them, hey guys, would you mind reviewing the experience of us getting you live, or coming so far? Like, I think that they're picking the moments of obviously when the key moments, as you said, that's massive. Not just at the end when the transaction's been done.
There's some legality over picking and choosing which reviews you showcase,
Okay.
and when you prompt people. And this is bigger in Australia. And so there's a thing where it's called like cherry picking your reviews. Like it's like where you're picking only the
Sounds
ones that are
perfect.
great.
Sounds
Yeah.
perfect. Sounds perfect.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm great in my mom's eyes. I'm 100%, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I'm the perfect agent. I'm the number one agent to my mom. And so
Do you know that? Do you know what? Do you know what? That seems kind of unfair. It's
yes.
bullshit that I can't cherry pick my reviews, but yet the people who want to just talk shit that have no context to the situation, they're allowed to just drag me into the dirt.
And you could have competitors posting on from anonymous things or anything like that, and like there could be a lot of shady activities happening. Now, when you're posting on Google or anything like that, and you're driving people to those sites, you don't have to worry about those legalities because Google is a public forum; anybody can go there. And so that's where I would start pushing people to stuff like Google or Yelp or anything like that. While instead of, we had a CX program where we were internalizing our reviews and then showcasing them. That's where
Yeah.
it becomes a lot different because you're
Oh, got it.
showcasing,
Got it.
the good ones and you're hiding the bad ones. And so that's where you have to kind of like uh, be compliant with legalities in your local marketplaces.
I don't hate that from a control perspective though.
Yeah.
Like I don't hate that from a control perspective because the bad ones you do get to absorb, and most of the time if they're using that platform to speak to not speak in the most polite manner about you, even though it's a situation like, again, you didn't get a price that you wanted and your price was astronomically high. That's a horrible thing to say that, no, my agent did a bad job. No, well, again, maybe they did do a bad job, but if they didn't do a bad job and you're talking shit on them because they're giving you the real market value, it's kind of like, do you know what pisses me off to no end on restaurant reviews? Somebody that goes to a 3 Michelin star restaurant says it's a bit expensive. Gives them a lower rating. It's like, you've got
Yeah.
to be kidding me, right?
Yeah.
You're an idiot.
Or the price wasn't on the menu online or something like that, and it's like okay, if
Geez.
their price isn't on the menu, I know I'm going there, I'm going to spend some money,
Yeah.
like that's usually the rule. But I was actually talking to an agent this morning who listed a property, and she took on a property that she knew was overpriced. It was ended up being the sellers wanted to list it like $300,000 overpriced, which is just tremendous, obviously. And she got a terrible, terrible review. Like she got at the end of the thing, she couldn't sell it. Nobody could sell it. The property's still on the market right now with another agent. Now, after I think it was on with her 120 days, now it's with someone else. In their like third price reduction and everything like that. Everything's kind of going crazy. And she got a bad review online from the same seller, and it's like, but I told you from the onset, and yes, she probably just shouldn't have taken the listing. But she told him from the onset that she didn't believe in this price, and this price was above market value. And maybe we'll see if someone can come in and fall in love with the property. But it's probably not going to be the case. And she got a poor review from that standpoint. And there's not much you can do from a negative review standpoint, other than publicly responding to it.
Yeah, there we go. Perfect. All right. Well, so in that situation, mate, what would I've always loved your ability from a messaging perspective that you know what to say in those moments when things are like from that perspective because you're like from the marketing background, you know what the external messaging should look like. There's got to be part of it, like any objection, which it is an objection to the way that you do business.
Yep.
You've got to absorb that objection. You've got to take it on board. You've got to take some ownership of it. Certainly that has to be the case in the response.
100%. There are some businesses and there's some companies that get away with being sarcastic and crass and negative in their review
That is
responses.
not the real estate community. That is not the
real estate community. And I don't really employ anybody to try their hand at that because I would say most agents are going to fail 9 times out of 10. Like there's probably that one unicorn who can respond like a jerk and it's hilarious and it'll go viral and it'll help your business and it'll be great. But the majority of people cannot get away with that. Like the comedic timing of some businesses and their social media teams of responding to reviews are gold. There's one specifically here actually there's one in San Diego that's even better, which is a bar, and they have one up above their bar and says, "We encourage all bad Yelp reviews," and it's like literally in like giant writing, and they encourage all bad Yelp reviews, and then they just go like ridiculous on the responses to everybody on there, and they're hilarious and they're really good at it, but not everyone's like that.
I'm having a little bit of a thought here at the moment. Tell me if you would not do this. So we have a property management business, and again, the tenants really don't like you when you're doing the right thing by the landlord who owns the property. is it almost something that you could promote how bad your reviews are to clients to say, hey, look, we've got literally a half a star review on Yelp because we protect you as a landlord. I don't know.
Yeah,
That's risky.
I mean, yeah. Again, that's where I don't think the regular real estate community would like do well doing that. I think your responses and your your public profiles. I think that's where again you talked about you should take ownership. You should not necessarily apologize in all situations, but kind of come at it from an empathetic nature, and kind of put yourself in their shoes, but also make it publicly known of kind of what the issue was, and the entire circumstance on there. So if people still see bad reviews on there, at least they see a follow up. Like the worst thing that can happen, in my opinion. So we had an experience a while back in San Diego with a hotel company, and we got our hotel broken into and all that stuff. The worst thing that it could ever happen is not the experience itself, but not feeling supported in the response, for when you reach out to someone. And I think if you leave a bad review, people really want to see how you can respond to that, even if it's, I can't do anything to help you and I apologize. Even if it's as simple as that, but it shows that you're actually attentive to what's going on with your business and showing that you're attentive to people reaching out to you and having concerns about your business.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that like there's this. There's got to be a moment though, Chris, that you've got to be careful here. Like you've definitely got to put the facts out there, and you've
100%.
definitely got to, yeah. And if somebody comes firing back at you, I don't believe that you should respond a second time.
No. And I don't think you need to. The response to the second time could be as simple as, I'm sorry that we can't see eye to eye. Like, it was great working with you. I wish you nothing but success in the future. Like, just end the conversation.
Oh, that's good. See, I would hate to argue. I'd hate to argue with you because you just defuse the situation. It's like, fuck you, dude. Like
Danielle hates arguing with me because I'm just done. Like I just don't argue. I just don't have it in me like to argue. I just don't care enough. It's not worth my time. And so, but in the public forum, I think it is appropriate to respond as fast and as politely as possible, so everybody kind of sees your morals and your business beliefs that you have out there. Not every client is worth every fight that's out there, but I think that you need to put it out there because people are going to search those and they're going to see those results regardless of the situation. And if you're just not responding to 50 bad reviews, those speak louder than anything in the world.
So just before we end, and I want to actually go through and talk about a few places we should go to read some reviews because I've got a really good recommendation that's a bit of fun to read. But like, what are the sites that we're concerned with here? We're concerned with Google reviews. We are concerned with Yelp.
Yeah, so the two big ones that I would say from a review standpoint right now, Google will always reign supreme in my opinion, but Google's doing a bunch of testing in 2024 in the early parts and this in the first quarter of where they're going to start putting reviews and all that stuff. So they're actually moving reviews down. And right now, Yelp is actually sitting above in most search results. So what's happening when you Google like, realtors nearby, or I Google Brady or anything like that, the reviews used to sit on the right side. They used to sit on that little map pack that was in there, and it would show a map and it would show phone numbers and all that stuff. It would show the top people, or it would show in the middle with the 3 search results, and then you would be able to expand it and kind of click into more. Now that right side is kind of being showcased for ads in the last couple of weeks that I've seen, where it's a couple ads right there, and it's because you searched real estate or local realtors, like it's showing a couple of ads, and then Yelp's actually sitting at the top because it's one of the most notoriety review sites that are out there, and then Google Maps pack is actually pushed down. Now, this probably isn't going to be the long-term case because Google plays with things all the time and they test things all the time of trying to see where they're going to place things and how the responses are and everything like that. So I'm not sure what means long-term, but that's where I would still say Yelp is actually a viable option that's out there. We don't have like a Rate My Agent here that has kind of garnered the marketplace. There is stuff for like, Rate
just
My Professor.
Zillow, like just Zillow, really. But like Zillow's, I don't know. Zillow's seems a little
shady. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Because they have sponsored and everything like that, and they do all these things. Like we have here a Rate My Professor, like for if you're in college and you're looking for your professor's reviews and stuff like that, and how easy the course is and all that stuff. They have stuff like that for here. We don't have that one-stop shop when it comes to real estate yet. Because clients are going to Google, Yelp, and over to Zillow. And I would say those are the big three that they go
There's
to.
there's another one. Yesterday I got called an idiot for not knowing what it was. It's like one of the most popular ones out there. Trust Advisor.
Oh,
Is it?
yeah, probably.
Yeah. Again, anyway, I think that there's a part of the thing that I definitely think that people should be like, we were thinking about how do we help, agents and offices and stuff within the network. It's kind of like, oh, well, we need to Google them. It's like, no, you need to get on Zoom with them and get them to Google themselves because of their geolocation, like you mentioned as well, so that we can understand the experience that happens when that all comes up.
And you can see some of that stuff if they're in a major city by using a VPN. So you can get like NordVPN or ExpressVPN or anything like that. You can actually just jump into their location. I use that a lot as a marketer. So and I live remotely, so I live in Seattle, so I can't see what's happening in San Diego or anything like that. So what I'll do is I'll change my location to San Diego or Los Angeles, and then I'll be able to Google locally there. So they could do that if they're looking for that. But what I would say from a standpoint of hierarchy, I would always focus on Google first because that's where the search results are going to happen. And the Google Map Pack and where you're placed on Google Businesses and Google Maps is very predicated on how many reviews you have and the quality of those reviews. So focus on that first because of that. And then from there, if you have enough, rapport with your clients or you have enough clients in general, that's where I would then start sprinkling them over to Yelp, Zillow, other places as well. The hard part is in those competitive marketplaces, it's going to be very tough to win on Zillow and stuff like that. It just is. And Zillow's also putting agents who pay, even if they have 1, 2, 3, 4 reviews and you have 50, like they're putting them above you anyways. So I would go straight to Google where reviews are king. And all that matters is that point is how many reviews you got, your star rating, and then the content that is actually in the review. And that's how they pull in your search results and put you on top. So they do kind of do an SEO analyst of your actual of the actual reviews you're receiving. And that's what weighs you above them as well.
Okay, well, let's get down to it. Sugar-free gummy bears on Amazon.
What? Oh, that's your review? Yes. I remember you sent this. Yeah.
You need to, if you know what's good for your people, you need to go to Amazon. You need to look at type in sugar-free gummy bears and read the review.
This is giving you an insight into Ben's purchase history and what Ben is looking at.
No, seriously. No, but I'm happy. I'm very comfortable in this situation too. I have a massive sweet tooth.
Yes.
And I bought these lollies, Jesus. I bought these this candy. Yeah, I bought some candy where I'm like, I can have a packet of candy at night, but they've got a bunch of fiber in them and it doesn't do good things for your body, right? So I was telling this story at dinner, not that it's an appropriate story to even share at dinner either, but I'm like, I found like some candy that I'm like, because I'm a massive sweet tooth, they could have a packet at night, but then the next day I just felt gross. And one of our friends, Laura, Chad's wife, turned around and goes, have you read the sugar-free gummy bears thing? I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, it's a known thing. Like these things are like, what did someone refer to them as? These vile demons.
That's great. I'm so glad I don't really have a sweet tooth. Like it is making me very happy right now that I don't have a sweet tooth. Because
what have you got, mate? Tell me like there's the bar in San Diego that you referenced. That would be funny.
Yeah. So that's called Thrusters in PB. They really
what a great name.
Yeah.
What a great name.
You guys don't know why I'm a fan of it. If you live in PV, it's a Seattle bar. So they're Seattle Seahawks and Seattle sports bar. The other one, I got to remember the name. There's one here. I just don't remember it off the top of my head. And so, yeah, there's a bunch out there. But again, that comedic timing and being able to do that on reviews and respond to people, it's very, very difficult.
Yeah, it's pouring a bad beer versus selling or doing a shit job selling someone's beer's asset. Very, very different to people.
Yes. And people have this already preconceived notion of real estate, like real estate agents and realtors, that you're going to be battling against when it comes to responding to those reviews as a whole. So just know that, like, we don't really have a bad taste in our mouth from like a bartender. We all love our bartenders, or we all love, candy and stuff like that. Like there's like, you don't have to climb up a hill to try and be the good guy up that point. So it's very hard to do that as a real estate agent.
Well, mate, I wish you all the best. Come tomorrow with the Mariners for the season.
Yep. Go M's.
Yeah. Yep. It's poor. I feel sorry for Kennedy because Kennedy's Chris's eldest daughter. He's brainwashed the hell out of this poor child already. She has no
she'll be
choice
there.
in the matter. Yeah,
She'll be there, cotton candy in hand, and
no choice in the matter. Bribes her with candy. See this? Bribes her with candy to make sure that she loves baseball. It's ridiculous.
yeah, she'll have salt and straw at the stadium. It's a good deal.
Jesus.
It's a good deal.
Okay, so you can stop now. Thank you. Thank you, Chris, as always.
Thanks, everybody.
So about 75% of our audience hasn't liked, followed, or subscribed to our podcast. It would mean the world to us, and it would help this podcast more than you know to expand our reach if you were to like, follow, or subscribe on any of the platforms that you're watching or listening on. Thanks again.